It's a chilly winter evening in Sacramento, the kind where families feel safe behind locked doors. But for Brian and Katie Majori, a young couple out walking their dog, the night turns deadly in an instant. Gunshots echo through the quiet streets. Pop, pop, as witnesses hear screams and see a shadowy man fleeing into the darkness. He just shot them. They're down. A neighbor cries into the phone, her voice cracking with terror. Police arrive to find the couple lifeless, executed in cold blood. No motive, no witnesses, no leads. This was just one thread in a web of terror spun by a phantom killer who evaded justice for over 40 years, until technology cracked the code. Welcome to Crime Whisperer, where we uncover how DNA and forensic innovation solve the unsolvable. Today, the chilling saga of the Golden State Killer. The Golden State Killer's reign of terror didn't start with murder. It began with something more insidious, a compulsion to invade, terrorize, and destroy lives from the shadows. The story traces back to Joseph James DeAngelo Jr., born November 8, 1945, in Bath, New York. Raised in a military family, DeAngelo's childhood was marked by instability. His father, a U.S. Air Force sergeant, moved them frequently. By his teens, the family settled in California, where DeAngelo attended Folsom High School and later Sacramento State University, earning a degree in criminal justice. He served in the Navy during Vietnam, where he claimed to have witnessed horrors that changed him, though investigators later doubted the extent. In 1973, DeAngelo became a police officer in Exeter, near Visalia, California, a role that gave him insider knowledge of law enforcement tactics. But beneath the badge lurked a monster. Engaged to Bonnie Caldwell in 1970, the relationship ended bitterly. DeAngelo allegedly stalked her afterward, a grudge that would echo in his crimes. By 1974, he was the Visalia Ransacker, burglarizing over 100 homes in Visalia, stealing odd items like coins and jewelry while vandalizing personal belongings. Victims described a methodical intruder who seemed to relish the violation, scattering photos, pouring lotion on beds, eating from kitchens. One attempted murder in 1975, when he shot at a detective during a stakeout, hinted at his escalating violence. DeAngelo was fired from the police in 1976 for shoplifting dog repellent and a hammer, items later linked to his toolkit for subduing victims. He moved north to Auburn, joining the local force until 1979, when another shoplifting incident ended his career. This period coincided with his transformation into the East Area Rapist, targeting Sacramento suburbs from 1976 to 1979. His victims were mostly women home alone or couples, aged 13 to 41. He struck at night, binding victims with shoelaces, raping women repeatedly while taunting them, sometimes for hours. "Shut up or I'll kill you," he'd hiss, his voice disguised in a whisper. He often ate from their fridges or watched TV, prolonging the terror. By 1979, with heat mounting in Northern California, DeAngelo relocated south, becoming the original Night Stalker. Here, his crimes turned deadlier. 10 murders between 1979 and 1986 in Ventura, Goleta, and Irvine. Victims included couples like Lyman and Charlene Smith, bludgeoned in their bed, or Janelle Cruz, an 18-year-old raped and killed while home alone. The time frame, mid-1970s to 1986, spanning multiple jurisdictions. No one connected the dots until DNA technology in the 2000s linked the rapes and murders to one man. DeAngelo, meanwhile, lived a double life, marrying Sharon Huddle in 1973, fathering 3 daughters, working as a truck mechanic until retirement in 2017. Neighbors in Citrus Heights described him as a grumpy recluse, yelling at kids on his lawn. Little did they know, the monster next door had gone dormant, but his past was about to catch up. To grasp the horror that technology ultimately unraveled, let's dive into one of the Golden State Killer's most brazen attacks, the murder of Brian and Katie Majori on February 2, 1978, which marked his shift from rape to public execution. It was a crisp evening in Rancho Cordova, a sleepy Sacramento suburb where families felt secure. Brian, 21, a military sergeant, and Katie, 20, his newlywed wife, were strolling with their poodle, Thumper, around 9 p.m. The couple had just moved into the area, full of young love and future plans. Brian dreaming of a stable career, Katie excited about starting a family. Suddenly, a man in a ski mask emerged from the shadows of a backyard, gun drawn. "Freeze!" he barked, his voice muffled but commanding. Witnesses later recounted hearing the confrontation. Brian, protective, shouted back, "What do you want?" The intruder, agitated, lunged as Thumper barked wildly. Katie screamed, "Help us!" as the couple tried to flee. In the chaos, the killer fired 2 shots to Brian's chest, 1 to Katie's head. The air filled with the acrid smell of gunpowder, the dog's yelps piercing the night. Neighbors peeked through curtains, one dialing 911. "Shots fired! A man and woman are down. Send help quick." The killer ripped off his mask briefly, revealing a glimpse of a white male in his 30s, before vanishing into the alleys he knew so well from prior prowls. This wasn't isolated. DeAngelo's pattern was meticulous terror. He'd stake out homes for weeks, calling victims with hang-ups to test presence, unlatching windows in advance. In a typical home invasion, like the 1977 attack on victim number 15 in Stockton, he'd slip in at 2 a.m., flashlight blinding the couple. "If you move, I'll kill you," he'd whisper, binding the man face down with pre-cut ligatures from their own home. The woman endured hours of rape, the intruder pausing to eat cheese from their fridge or sob theatrically, perhaps faking emotion to confuse profilers. "I hate you, Bonnie," he'd mutter during assaults, a clue to his broken engagement. Sensory horror amplified the fear. The cold metal of his gun against skin, the stench of his sweat-masked breath, the creak of floorboards as he ransacked drawers for souvenirs like wedding rings. Emotions ran high, victims frozen in dread, hearts pounding, minds racing for escape. One survivor recalled, "I thought if I just complied, he'd leave, but he enjoyed the power." DeAngelo's kills escalated in the South. In 1980, he bludgeoned Charlene and Lyman Smith with a log from their fireplace, blood splattering walls in a frenzy of rage. The danger peaked. He shot victims who resisted, like Keith and Patrice Harrington in 1980. Each crime built suspense for investigators. Would he strike again? The killer's taunts to police, like calling a hotline to say, "You're never gonna catch me," heightened the cat and mouse game. By 1986, with Janelle Cruz's murder, raped and beaten in her Irvine home, the trail went cold, leaving a legacy of shattered lives and unanswered questions. The investigation into the Golden State Killer was a decades-long odyssey of frustration, dead ends, and technological triumphs, a testament to how forensic science turned the tide on one of America's most elusive predators. It began piecemeal in the 1970s, with local police treating rapes as isolated incidents. Sacramento detectives like Richard Shelby noted patterns. The intruder's military-style bindings, his small shoe size, 9, and whispers to disguise his voice. Composite sketches circulated, a young white male, 5 feet 9 inches, athletic, but leads fizzled. "He was like a ghost," Shelby later said in interviews. Victims' descriptions matched. He'd stack dishes on the man's back, saying if they fell, everyone dies. By 1979, as murders surfaced south, jurisdictions didn't connect dots until 1990s DNA tech. In 2001, Orange County Lab linked semen from rape victims to murder scenes via Cody's database, proving one man. "This changes everything," exclaimed investigator Larry Poole. The East Area Rapist and original Night Stalker became AR/ONS. Task forces formed, but the killer's DNA had no direct match. Billboards begged for tips. $50,000 rewards went unclaimed. Paul Holes, Contra Costa investigator, obsessed over the case for 20 years. "I'd stare at the evidence, thinking, 'Who are you?'" Holes recalled. Major twists came with 2010's advancements. Parabon Nanolabs used DNA phenotyping in 2017 to predict the killer's appearance. Blue eyes, light hair, fair skin. But the breakthrough, genetic genealogy. In 2018, Holes' team uploaded crime scene DNA to GEDmatch, a public genealogy site. "We treated it like a relative search," Holes explained. Matches to distant cousins, third to fourth, emerged. Genealogists Barbara Raventer and team built family trees backward, tracing 25 trees from 1800s immigrants. It was like piecing a puzzle with thousands of pieces, Raventer said. Narrowing to 2 suspects, surveillance followed DeAngelo. Discarded DNA from his trash, a tissue and door handle sample, matched perfectly in April 2018. "We got him," Holes whispered in triumph. Arrest at his Citrus Heights home. DeAngelo, 72, feigned surprise. "I have a roast in the oven," he quipped casually. Interrogation revealed little. He denied at first, but evidence mounted. His Navy service matched timelines, Exeter firing aligned with Ransacker and Auburn job with rapes. Shoe prints, ligature knots, all consistent. A 2019 search warrant uncovered souvenirs from crimes. The probe highlighted text double edge, privacy concerns over GEDmatch, leading to policy changes. But it cracked 50-plus cold cases linked to DeAngelo. Without DNA, he'd have died free, District Attorney and Marie Schubert noted. The investigation's step-by-step unraveling, from analog sketches to digital trees, showcased forensic evolution. The resolution of the Golden State Killer case brought long-overdue justice but reopened wounds for survivors. On April 24, 2018, Joseph DeAngelo was arrested at home, charged with 13 murders and 13 kidnappings/rapes. Statute of limitations barred most rapes. He pleaded guilty June 29, 2020, in a Sacramento ballroom turned courtroom for COVID spacing. Guilty, he rasped 26 times, admitting to uncharged crimes too. Avoiding death penalty per deal, he received 11 consecutive life sentences without parole on August 21, 2020. Judge Michael Bowman called him the embodiment of evil, sentencing amid victim statements. Impact was profound. Victims confronted him. "You are a sick monster," said one. Gay Hardwick, raped in 1978, said, "Killing him is too easy, he needs to live with this." DeAngelo's apology was flat. "I'm truly sorry to everyone I've hurt." Now 79, he serves at California State Prison, Corcoran. The community exhaled. Sacramento held vigils. Southern California families found closure. Media exploded. HBO's I'll Be Gone in the Dark, based on Michelle McNamara's book. Podcasts like Man in the Window. Public reaction mixed awe at tech with privacy fears. GEDmatch opted in for law enforcement matches. Legacy. Genetic genealogy solved 200-plus cases since, but sparked ethics debates. Lessons. Technology bridges justice gaps, but vigilance against domestic threats remains key. As Paul Holes reflected, this shows no case is truly cold. The Golden State Killer's capture isn't just a victory for justice. It's a chilling reminder that monsters can hide in plain sight for decades, only to be unmasked by the relentless march of science. In an era where DNA whispers secrets from the past, we must ponder. How many more shadows will technology illuminate, and at what cost to our privacy? If this tale of tech triumph over terror gripped you, hit subscribe for more true crime revelations, because the next breakthrough could be just a swab away.